So this review is going to be really tough for me. And not because of the reasons you might think, not because of the people in the comments who say, oh, look at your thugs of Hindostan now. Look, you were so excited by the trailer and this movie fucking sucked. I mean, we got you. Wait till 2.0 comes out. In a movie where a character crashes himself into a boat, explodes, and somehow survives, I don't have any other words to describe it but stupid. What I watched was so awful that it's almost impossible to articulate how I feel about this movie other than saying it's a piece of shit. For once, Rotten Tomatoes got it right. Right now it has a 14%, has a 33% audience score. And for the 2.0 haters out there who think that they got me, oh, look at your thugs of Hindostan now. You were so excited for the trailer. You know what? As always, I'm fucking honest. And this movie sucked. I'm going to fucking say it sucked, and I'm going to go hard on this movie just like I went hard on Race 3. But I always will watch a movie before I judge it. Always. I can think the trailer sucks, the poster sucks, the actors suck, the fucking director sucked, the fucking editor. I can hate everybody involved in the project. I can hate everything. But if I watch the movie and it's good, I will tell you that. People are crazy to shit on movies, to say they are terrible before they come out. I've always talked about the trailers so far. And if the movie ends up being terrible, you guys are the first ones to hear it. Honesty is the only thing that we give a shit about on this channel. Before I jump into it, I just want to say there's going to be tons of swearing in this review. If that bothers you, don't watch it. It doesn't bother me if you don't watch it or not. But give me a shot, watch it all, then comment below. Tell me you hate it. Tell me you fucking agree with me. Tell me whatever you want. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the dislike. Just do something. Show me. Show me how you feel about what I'm saying and be involved in this conversation. And finally, Reaction Hour, episode 15 comes out tomorrow. It's going to be a big one. I mean, you don't want to miss it. It's going to be fun. Let's just say it's 2.0 related, and I'll leave it at that. Whatever, but let's fucking get into this piece of shit, because I have plenty to say. So for those of you out there who compared this movie to Pirates of the Caribbean, for those who've seen this movie, what do you think? Do you still believe that? Do you still feel like that this movie is similar to Pirates? Because me, if you ask me, I personally believe that each one of you who said that shit owes the producers, Johnny Depp, all the creative crew and everything involved in Pirates of the Caribbean, Disney, whatever, name it. You owe them an apology because you insulted them big time by comparing this big piece of shit to those movies. I mean, even the worst parts of Pirates of the Caribbean are better than fucking 99% of the movie. Starts off, you have this interesting opening, and it leads to the #1 fundamental issue about this entire fucking movie. It's 3 hours long. But the thing is about this movie is this extends every single moment. And I couldn't be any more dissatisfied with VJ's directing, with his fucking writing. I think VJ is talented scene by scene. Everything he does is done well. I mean, as someone who is a filmmaker myself, and for those of you out there who might not be filmmakers, the things that he was doing to capture the moments was actually pretty good. I mean, his cinematography, the way his camera movement, the way he was able to extend certain scenes, and you might think, you just said it was a bad thing. I'll explain. So, you know, to draw out the tension, to draw out the moments, those are all perfect techniques that a filmmaker should be able to know how to do in order to tell a good story. The issue is, there's no fucking good story here. So the problem is you can have all of these moments, you can have the great cinematography, you can have the great fucking, you know, the set design, all the practical effects in the world. You can do all this shit, and don't even get me started on the shitty CGI. But it doesn't fucking matter if your story sucks. And the story here sucked. And the story sucked because the moments were so fucking drawn out in certain situations that you just can't help but fucking laugh. The VJ has no balls. I mean, Amitabh Bachchan should have fucking died, and he didn't. And he came back and completely erased all of the fucking everything that we've gained up until that point. And let's not even get started about that fucking scene. Actually, you know what? Let's get started with that scene. The scene in which he commits suicide. The scene in which we're supposed to give a fuck about the dude, right? He kills himself, sacrifices himself. Fuck that scene. That scene was so fucking terrible because it made no sense. First of all, the boat is on a flat land and they're in a burning warehouse. Okay, so Amitabh shoots chains with his inaccurate musket. I mean, muskets must be the most fucking inaccurate guns in the world, but not Amitabh Bachchan. That motherfucker's a sharpshooter. Bam! Bam! Lets the ship go. So what happens? The ship starts rolling. Okay, sure. Maybe that's what the chains were for. It was holding it back. I mean, but no, it generates enough force to roll on out the barn, bust the wooden barn door down, and fucking go into the ocean, and have enough momentum to sail into another boat. Now, mind you, there's no fucking way that Amitabh knew this is the moment I need to shoot the fucking thing. It just happened. It was just movie magic. There's no sail on these boats. There's nothing. So he fucking just glided himself into the boat. And the British couldn't turn right at any point. I mean, it reminds me of the scene in fucking Mike Myers, you know, Austin Powers.
Move! Move! Careful, Austin! Watch out!
I mean, it doesn't even make any sense. It's not like there was a setup where Amitabh was like, I need to be the one to light the torch. If there was that moment where he had to put the torch in and he had to be the one to self-sacrifice, I get it. I buy it. I'm with it. But he didn't have to do that. Motherfucker could have just jumped off the boat and not died because the boat didn't do shit. It just went forward. And not to mention, when he finally comes back, the way he survived the fucking tail, well, first of all, we don't know at all. I mean, the last we see of him, he's on the fucking ground because I believe, no, he turns around or something like that. You have that stupid fucking moment. But anyway, he somehow fucking survives the explosion and he's like face up so he doesn't drown, and then the British capture him. What? Why? Why couldn't he just die? Why couldn't he just die? Why did you have to do that? No balls, VJ. No balls. No balls. Zero balls. To the English people, fucking A, dude. What? Who? I mean, I guess it's VJ since he's the one who wrote the motherfucker and directed it. Why would two British officers, in their own privacy, speak Hindi towards one another? Did you not want to like write subtitles down? Did you not? I don't understand that. They speak English. Let them speak English. That it would seem way more menacing if they spoke fucking English because they're fuck. I mentioned the terrible CGI. I mean, it was awful, especially in the beginning with Amitabh and he's riding on the horse and you could totally tell it was awful. I mean, some of the boats looked terrible. But then there was other moments that actually did look good. So it was like this 50-50 where on one hand, you have pretty good special effects because, you know, when they're on the boat and they're sailing, you see their backgrounds and the ports and things like that. For the most part, I would assume that was CGI because it usually is. Background extension is what we call it, where they'll have a green screen here and then they'll CGI and digitally input a background even farther so that it looks more grand in scale. Those things look good. And that takes time and that's not exactly easy to pull off. So for that, definitely hats off, for sure. No question there. But there were moments where just the pure creative choices just didn't make any sense. Aamir Khan is riding on his fucking donkey, and he like they do this weird like he's riding forward and then he rides back and then he rides forward again. Complete amateur hour bullshit. Like when I saw that, I was fucking laughing out loud. I couldn't even believe that a professional would use that shit in a serious manner in one of the biggest and most expensive films in Indian cinema. Like you understand, Vijay, you comprehend that like people are gonna watch your film, right? Like you understand that. Like did you just fucking shoot whatever you wanted and just throw it in the editing room and just like, fuck it, they'll understand. I mean, because some of the things are so idiotic that it's mind-blowing. It really is mind-blowing. And right now, it's so hard, like, this is difficult for me to review. I mean, the movie really is difficult for me to review because it's hard for me to not talk shit about this thing. I mean, I felt like I was on a goddamn merry-go-round with how many times there was a betrayal. And, like, Aamir Khan was like, oh, I'm going to betray you here. Oh, I'm going to betray you. And by the time they kept betraying, I'm like, fuck, dude, just who's this fucking, it just... Whew, I can't even put in a word. I can't talk right now. I can't even speak. I mean, right now, thankfully, I'm calm and I'm not yelling like I was in the Race 3 review because I was so blown away by like how terrible that was. People are going to want to know what was worse, this or Race 3. Race 3 had more story than this movie. And Race 3 had one of the worst stories I've ever seen in my entire life. So that's saying a lot about Thugs of Hindostan. However, on a technical level, this movie was more fucking technically pleasing than Race 3 could ever dream to be. On Race 3's best scenes, those and on a technical level, on a filmmaking level, were the equivalent to probably the worst scenes on this movie. So it's this weird trade-off where I don't know what the worst movie is because there was more, at least there was a story in Race 3, there wasn't one here. There was fucking action in Thugs in Hindustan, but there wasn't in Race 3. So it's like, I don't really know what the worst movie is. They're just both really shitty fucking movies, to be honest with you. But let's get into the action thing. As far as action set pieces, like independent of the film, like if I were to just have those clips and show them to somebody, they're decent. There's one fucking big issue though, and it's one of the big factors as to why this movie sucked. Because now I'm gonna start to get into why the movie actually was bad, and give you real film reasons as to why this movie sucked. There's no banter. There's no back and forth playfulness. And I'm not saying it needs to be a lighthearted affair. I'm just saying, you watch Lord of the Rings, you watch Braveheart, there's people on the battlefield, and there's, even if they crack jokes, they do something, because this movie's supposed to be lighthearted. It's supposed to be for the masses. And the fact that you don't get any moments where Aamir Khan jokes with Amitabh Bachchan, or Big B doesn't joke with the girl that he's protecting. There's no moments of levity during the fights. It takes you out. It makes you an observer of the action, but it doesn't put you in the action. Even super serious things like Game of Thrones, they always have some sort of banter here or there. Even if it's oh shit, literally them just saying, oh shit, because that allows you to enter the scene. It allows you to have stakes. It just doesn't happen in this movie. I mean, save for a few scenes here and there, but for the most part, it just doesn't happen. And that's not a good thing, because that affects your involvement in the story. And I thought I would never say this, but Thugs of Hindustan was missing a love story. Because, to be quite honest with you, you throw some of this back and forth banter during the fights, you throw in a love interest, and then I don't really see why audiences wouldn't love this movie. And I know that might be tough for some of you to hear, because you saw the movie and you know how terrible it is, and you're like, oh, what? Daniel just thinks you throw a love story in it, and now we're going to all of a sudden love this movie? Yes, the love story is what would have really engaged you with these characters, and I think that's what's missing. Your attachment to any of these characters. There's nothing to hold you to the narrative. And so when these exciting set pieces happen, you don't give a shit. You just don't care, because you don't care about the people involved. I mean, you care more about them as superstars in real life than you do about them in this movie. And that's a problem. That's an issue. You shouldn't do that. These should be characters that you're watching that only exist in this movie. You shouldn't see Aamir Khan. You shouldn't see Amitabh Bachchan. You shouldn't see these people. You should see their characters. And they should be three-dimensional. They shouldn't be one-dimensional, especially if they're your leads. That's why this movie sucks. It's not because of the action. It's not because of the extended scenes that suck. It's because there's no character. And because there's no character, there's no story. And when you have no character and you have no story, you don't have a movie. You can throw all the special effects in there. You can throw all the budget in there. You can do all of that shit. And it's not going to change that there's no story to engage your audience. And will this movie make money? I'm sure it will. Will it be the biggest grossing film of 2018? Probably not. I'm probably going to say it's 2.0. But you know what? I don't know. Only time will tell. But right now, based on the comments I've been receiving about this movie, no one fucking likes this film. So, I mean, when you're dealing with things like that, and I wrote pages while I was watching the fucking movie, because I have so many things to say about it, and I'm going to just go through it right now. I mean, the scene with the statues, in theory, is cool, but it's so unbelievably bad that it'd be interesting to read in a book, because you can imagine it. You can put yourself there. But to see these things, people painted themselves and they stood so still that they didn't fucking, that someone would see these human beings stacked on top of one another. See them with their own eyes and believe that they're a statue. I don't see how that's possible. And it just happens to rain on that day, and then they get washed away, and that... I get it. The Trojan horse idea is great, but they use it twice in this movie too. And they don't even explain how they get into that fucking big old statue that they light on fire at the end. I mean, fuck, dude. So it's just there's so many leaps of faith that you just can't help but just really hate this movie. Audio was definitely not the best in this film. There's a lot of moments where the audio was peaking. Very disappointing, because Race 3 had zero. None of that. So as much as I praise this film on a technical level, audio-wise, it's bad. It's not good. It's very disappointing. It's the worst element on a technical level for this movie, hands down. And maybe most of you won't recognize it, but I did, and that's unacceptable. At this level, it's unacceptable. It is fucking unacceptable, because you just bring them in and re-record the dialogue. You're going to spend so much money, and you're telling me you can't fucking spend a little bit more money to bring the actors in to re-record their fucking lines? Fuck off. That's awful. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment, because I know if I had fucking $40 million to make a movie, you bet your ass it's going to sound okay. The story might suck. The film might suck. The action might suck. The whatever else might suck. It'll sound good. Unacceptable. No supporting cast. There's no supporting cast. Aamir Khan's like friend that he betrayed that you get no backstory to. Like, we're just supposed to accept it. Again, another reason why this movie's not like Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean had a love story. Pirates of the Caribbean had a great supporting cast, both on the good and bad guys. You had the bad guys, like those funny, hello, puppet, like those people were funny. But those were the bad guys, but they were the supporting cast. Even the villains, the fucking main, like, British dude who you hate, the asshole. Like, even he's kind of, like, way better than fucking most of the characters here. I mean, and then we got to talk about the songs. I got to talk about the songs. The songs were all awful except for one. I mean, the part where Aamir Khan dyes his hair blonde, his beard blonde, and oh, what a way to ruin a fucking moment, VJ. What a way to ruin a moment. I mean, you set up this whole bit where the British officers are in this little like dance studio, whatever the fuck it is, and Aamir Khan's lover, girlfriend, whatever you want to call her, has to perform for them. And I'm thinking in the theater like, oh, this is like one of those moments where like Nazi Germany, where the Nazis were in a bar and they wanted like the Allies to sing for them or something like that. So it's like the French girl comes out to sing to the Nazis, to the enemy, you know? And I was thinking, ooh, this might be interesting. What happens? No, Aamir Khan puts himself in a fucking wig, which you don't know where he got, an officer's uniform, which you don't know where he got, and they start fucking dancing and singing. Stupid, 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 stupid. One song that I liked, though, that Cave song was fun and it was awesome. No complaints. That was awesome. In the context of a story, terrible. Awful. But as an independent piece of cinema, where if you were to just take that out and show someone, phenomenal. It was fun. It was just fun. I mean, the music was catchy, and so for me, like, that was great. That was definitely a standout. I could say one thing about this movie, though. One positive thing about the movie as a whole. It wasn't boring. It was not boring. And I had such a good time laughing at the film, not with the film, but at the film, that, you know, it was, after the movie was done, I was super excited that I watched it. Now I have a film that I can watch at any time before I make a movie. And the reason why I say that is I can watch Thugs of Hindostan now and know exactly what not to do when making a film. It's a perfect reminder. You know, if you're gonna go shoot something and you're like, fuck, what do I do? What do I not do? Watch Thugs of Hindostan. And now you know, don't do any of these things. If anything starts to happen that was interesting, see where they went and never go that direction. Go the complete opposite direction, because you don't want to make a movie like fucking Thugs of Hindostan. It's embarrassing. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna end with that. This is a long review. Wasn't as heated or as intense as Race 3, but I definitely shit on it. Tomorrow, Reaction Hour. Check it out. It's going to be a big one. A big, big episode. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.